I'm coming on just for a little public service announcement. I want to let you know that we have received so many adoption situations this year, and we need some more families to fill the situations. Like, you'll get situations if you are ready, especially if you are open. Are you open? What do I mean by open? Are you open to race? Are you open to substance exposure? Are you open to visits? Are you open, what's your budget? There's so many things to consider, but if you are ready to take the leap and start your adoption journey now, we've got your back. So we need you. Agencies need more families, and they have situations for all sorts of families. So come join our community. We'd love to have ya.
Welcome to the Adoption Roadmap Podcast, your go-to guide through the beautiful, complex, and transformative journey of adoption. I'm Rebecca Gruenspan, a single mom through adoption consultant for over a decade, author of the Adoption Roadmap book, and your trusted guide. In each episode, we dive into real experiences, expert insights, and the raw, honest truths that you will need to navigate your journey. Whether you're just beginning, in the thick of it, or well past placement, you'll find support and community here to help you navigate this unique path with confidence and love. Adoption isn't all rainbows and butterflies. It is life-changing and worth every bit of effort. Let's learn, grow, and journey together on the Adoption Roadmap Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to This Week in Adoption. I had to get that little ticker off the bottom of my video there from my last speaker. Good morning. I hope you had a great week. This week in adoption, a whole lot has come up, and we'll see what I can get through today. So here we go. I'm Becca Gruenspan. If you are new to me, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Listening, watching, engaging, ask me anything, and I'd be happy to answer. First thing that came up, visits before birth. So you are matched, and sometimes you go and travel and visit with the expectant mom. Sometimes you don't. So what does that look like, and when does that happen? So let me just paint a couple scenarios, and some people, I just want to put this out there, but some people may view this as maybe not ethical. It's just what I read. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I can always see another viewpoint, and I think it's maybe going out and, I don't know, some people think pre-birth matching altogether is unethical because you have a chance for coercion. And on the other side of things, expectant moms feel more comfortable a lot of times when they know who the family is, can develop a relationship with the family, build trust with the family, and also know that it doesn't mean they have to stick with this adoption plan or this match. So there's that. If you match with an expectant mom who is due months out, I think it's always good to let her know that you are willing to come visit her, to start building that relationship, to help her get to know who you are and what it might look like to have her child in your family. You know, it's one thing to look at pictures, it's another to talk on the phone or video chat, and it takes it to a whole nother level when you can visit in person. And when doing so, I always recommend coming with a little gift. Just like if you are going to somebody's house for dinner, you're usually not going to show up empty-handed. I hope not. And this is the same. Don't show up empty-handed. And if she has other children, bring something for them too. So what does this look like? And I'm not talking about anything extravagant, just a simple gesture. So for the kids, it could be books or coloring books. It could be, here's what I did when I went to visit. During my visit before my son's birth mother gave birth, I brought her things representing the city that I lived in. So I bought her a baseball cap, a pink baseball cap, and I can't remember what else I got her. Maybe some lotion and maybe a t-shirt or something. I don't remember. Certainly you can go that route, or like a little gift bag for the birth, magazines, depending on when she's due, right? If she's due in the next month or something, it could be magazines and lotions and slippers and a robe, something like that. Sky's the limit. But bring something small just to say, hi, it's so nice to meet you. This is the beginning of our, hopefully, a long-term relationship. So likely what's going to happen is after a match, you're going to have a scheduled phone call with the expectant mom. That's 9 times out of 10 that's what happens. And typically when that happens, not always, if you are matching through an agency, probably somebody from the agency is going to be on that call with you just to make sure things don't get awkward. Nobody asks a question that could be construed any sort of way. Or sometimes you might have that call alone, so just kind of walk a fine line and don't get too personal as a getting to know you. On that call, I always advise our families to offer that you would be willing to come for a visit if that is something she is open to, and that she doesn't have to tell you right now, but she can let her caseworker know at any point, and that you'd be willing to do that. So there's that. All right, if you have any questions, put them in whatever chat you can find. By the way, does anybody ever get up, shower, dry your hair, and put on the anti-frizz lotion in your hair, go out for a walk with the dog, and come back and your hair is completely frizzy? What's the point of these anti-frizz things if they're just going to keep your hair frizzy? So then you have to put oil in it to get all the frizz down. Much better now. On another note, how much money do you need to have before you start your adoption journey? It's a question we get all the time on inquiry calls. I've got no water. I've got no coffee. I've been up since 4:45 a.m. Too much on my mind. Here we go. How much money do you need before you start the process? Well, before you start the process, even before a home study, I would say realistically, you should have a good $30,000 to $40,000. And you need a plan as to how you will get the rest, another maybe 20, by the time you adopt. Where's it going to come from? Are you going to start putting money away from whatever you're getting paid, which is a really good idea? Are you going to have a side hustle? Are you going to have fundraisers? Are you going to get a line of credit or a loan? Have a plan in place. And one of the things that we recently did within the past year is partner with your adoption finance coach. Shout out to them, to help our families put that plan into place. So we will take on families and start working with them if they have a good chunk up front, with the hope that they will sign up with an adoption finance coach to work on a plan on how they're going to get the rest. We always say to plan on between 50 and 60 is probably at the average all in that you are going to spend. Could be less, could be more, but I want you to plan on that. And at the time you sign up with your agencies, I want you to have that almost all, if not all, of the rest of the money and know where it can come from within a 48-hour turnaround if need be. You never want to be caught in a situation where you are presented let's say a baby born, perfect situation for you, and you don't have the money available for you to accept it, so you have to pass. That would be a shame and it would hurt you. So make a plan, work that plan, have the money in place by the time you sign up with agencies. So the first chunk of money you're going to need, if you work with a consultant, obviously I highly recommend it. I'm not going to get into why now, but for so many reasons. And if you go back and look at our Instagram, I know we recently had a post about why an adoption consultant. So if you want to know more, message me. You're going to need your consultant money to get started, and then you'll need your home study money. A home study has to be done in your state, and I'd say it's going to run anywhere from, $1,500 to $4,500, depending on the state, the agency, what it includes, what it doesn't include. That's a discussion for another time, but that's the money you're going to need up front to get started. The rest of it can wait a little bit. It's probably going to take, depending on your strategy, whether you're working with a consultant, whether you're not working with a consultant. I would say if you don't have all the money up front, work with a consultant that doesn't require you to have a home study done already before you start with them, because that means you're going to need the rest of the money very quickly. Versus if you start with a consultant, like we like it when people start without a home study, because we want the home study and the profile to be done at the same time so that you're not wasting time on your home study. It has to be renewed every year. So we don't want you to then not even apply to your agencies until 3 or 4 months later. That's wasting a ton of time and money. I hope that makes sense to you. So I'd say probably 3 to 5 months. Within 3 to 5 months, it could be quicker, it could be 2 months, you are going to need the rest of your money. So you're going to want a good plan in place. All right. That's what I have to say about moolah. The stages of adoption. This came up recently in a conversation. Every month we have what we call circle of support calls with an adoption competent therapist leading the call, talking about whatever issues are coming up with our families, but also talking about what issues will come up for you as you go, or maybe right now. A lot of people don't even realize that they're experiencing things that they're experiencing until someone brings it to their attention. Or maybe they haven't thought about something that they need to be thinking about, and yet they've been avoiding it. So things like that. And as we were talking through a couple situations, we were talking about how one couple was really, really struggling with passing up a situation or not getting chosen for a situation. And another person that was on that call is like, yeah, I've gotten used to it. It doesn't bother me anymore. And it made me start to think, kind of like, the levels of grieving. You get mad, angry first, and then basically you're okay. I don't know. I can't remember the exact words, and the exact stages. But I think you go through stages in this adoption journey. When it's fresh and new and you start and you think you have strong views and ideas of what this is going to look like and what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. And then you start to learn a little bit more and you're like, then you're questioning things and really trying to figure out what you're good with, what you're not okay with. And then you start getting situations and you are connected to that situation. You are all in, you present and you're like, I think we might get chosen. We're so great. And why wouldn't we get chosen? And then you don't. And it's a big, huge blow to you. And it takes you a week to recover from that first presenting. And then it's still hard as you present the second, the third, the fourth time. Some people present once and get chosen, and some people present 50 times and get chosen on the 51st. And whichever way happens, you end up with the right child for you. Always. I have always seen it happen like that. And I think as you go, number one, you get used to things. You get used to seeing situations and how they vary from one another. Maybe you get less scared about presenting and you start taking bigger risks. Maybe you open up to more than you even thought you would be open up to because you have learned more. And maybe as you go on, you're presenting for a situation and then literally you forget about it and keep moving on. Whereas every single situation that came to you at the beginning affected you so much. And I think that's the same with anything in life, right? Like, how do you become more comfortable with things? It's practice, it's repetition, it's learning, it's engaging. And so it's the same with anything in life, but it really became clear to me as I was talking to two very people who were at very different places in their journey and how they were each handling the same type of situation very differently. So I wanted to bring that up as something to ponder on the different stages of adoption. And I'd love to hear from you, like, what stage are you in right now? Are you still in the I don't know what I don't know phase? Are you in the phase where, like, I'm open to this, but I'm absolutely not open to this and nothing's going to change my mind, but you haven't even, like, started immersing yourself in education yet? Are you in the, oh my God, it's taken us so much to even present for a situation, we finally presented and this has to be the one or we're going to be devastated? Or are you kind of a little bit hardened and maybe your walls have gone up a little bit and said, well, I hope that this happens for us. We'll just keep doing what we're doing and eventually it'll stick. Where are you? You don't want to get too far over to that, the walls being up, where you stop putting in the energy and the work. You kind of want to be somewhere in the middle, right? Where it's still exciting and you're still holding on a lot of hope, but you know a lot more and you're still engaged. That's where you want to be, that sweet spot. We had a birth father on in our community the other day, and it was a birth father who actually didn't find out he had a child that was placed for adoption until much later after the fact. I think the child was already like 4 or 5, something like that, and then he found out through a DNA test of all things. And everything that he went through in finding out. And the fact was that the outcome may or may not have been different. What he was most upset with is that he wasn't given the opportunity to take part in the decisions and in the decisions around placing his child for adoption and in the decision about who would parent his child. Now, thankfully, by the grace and the goodness and the beauty of the adoptive family that he was able to connect with, they have truly embraced him. And now he has this beautiful relationship with his daughter, and they have allowed that to happen very gracefully. And I think what it reminded me of and what I took away from the most, and kind of relating it back to what I just said and not knowing what you don't know, and so much of where you come in adoption when you first begin is based around fear of the unknown. And I think there's a ton of fear about birth parents, birth moms, yes, birth fathers, even more so. I think people are scared of birth fathers. I think people often forget about birth fathers, their feelings, their rights. Every state has different laws regarding birth father rights. And I think it's important for you to really understand, number one, What is the situation with the father, with the expectant father? Number 2, is he involved? Number 3, does he have the right to be notified? Now, it is not a cut and dry answer because every single situation is so different. If the father is abusive, does he still have the right to be notified? Well, in some states, yes. And in some states, not necessarily. You just want to gather the information, understand it, make sure that everybody's rights are being adhered to, and then make a decision. And if you adopt, and in my case, the birth father was not in the picture at the beginning, and then came into our lives, much like the birth father we talked to the other day, years later, are you going to be open enough to embrace that and build that relationship? Depending on who he is, trying to build that trust. And in my case, I am so glad I did. Having that relationship with my son's birth father is one of the most beautiful things about the entire adoption experience. Not only for me, but for my son especially, and for all of the siblings involved. So we're afraid of the things we don't know, and we have to have open hearts and open minds, as I always say. I am going to end there. There is still so much more that I want to talk about, but I feel like this is a good place to stop. So let's see, what did we talk about? We talked about visits before birth. Good idea, always offer it, bring gifts for expectant mom and her kids. Maybe you'll go to a doctor's appointment. Maybe you'll take her out to dinner. Maybe you'll go on a hike, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be long, just like a day. Go overnight, have dinner, maybe breakfast or lunch the next day, and then be on your way. How much money you have to have before starting the adoption journey? At least, I'd say 30 to 40. And we talked a little bit about that. The stages you go through during your adoption journey, and birth fathers. On that note, have a great weekend. I hope to see you next week. Please continue to tune in and check out all of the episodes of the Adoption Roadmap podcast. Let me know what you think. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Adoption Roadmap podcast. If you did, I have a few favors to ask of you. First, please hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And while you're at it, I'd love to hear your takeaways. Please write a review and let me know what you liked. And if you have a question or a suggestion on what you'd like to hear, I'd love to hear that too. Please shoot me an email at support@rgadoptionconsulting.com and let me know what you'd like to hear about. And if you have a question, I may just answer it online. Thanks again for listening. Tune in every Wednesday and Friday morning for a brand new episode of the Adoption Roadmap podcast. Until next time, bye-bye.